Hello, friends. Welcome to Much Review About Nothing. We're proudly competing with the other voices in your head. On this podcast, we try to review a movie we haven't seen through cultural osmosis and what we can find on the internet. I'm your host, Billy Greer.
And we're your co-hosts, Jake Greer and
Luke Greer. Of course, our name, you should know our names by now. It's only elementary.
Oh, I see what you did there. I never know what to expect from like your joke thing you do now.
I like to keep you on your toes.
well, introspection inspection, say it correctly.
Yeah.
Is dead right now until we get some content. Do you guys have anything?
Oh, I have several things.
Okay,
actually.
good.
Yeah.
It's not dead. It's alive again.
Yeah, well, I just want to point out that sometimes, especially Jake, we call it inspection, because we gave it like the worst name possible. It's hard to say properly.
Best name possible, I swear.
Best and worst. It's a pro-con, right?
Yeah.
Yep, introspection, inspection shambles on like a robot zombie.
It's having its own adventure.
Hold on, I just want to... For some reason, I like when I can see it recording.
You're just a pervert like that.
Ooh, I like to see it record.
I don't know where to put that. It seems like it's... I don't want to cut that because it's...
No, it's funny.
It is funny.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, I have some things for introspection, inspection. First of all, what I wanted to propose was, should we come up with a cute little nickname for our fans? Because, like, there's another podcast I listen to called Blank Check, and they call their fans Blankies. And I didn't know if we should have something like that we can call our fans if we
How
ever
about
get any.
suckers?
Suckers.
That would be
Rubes.
funny. If we had fans, that would be I would be all for it. But unfortunately,
We can ask our mom what she wants to be nicknamed. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know she's a fan.
Yeah, she's the only one listening to it currently. I don't know. I was just gonna propose it and see if you guys had any thoughts. I was
Maybe
thinking,
that's what we should call our fans, Mom.
Mom. Yeah.
All our moms out there.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of like Mutchers, but I don't know if that's...
Mutchers.
because
Yeah.
they're muchers.
You know what? I'm going to say, I don't know. I kind of hated when fan nicknames are fine, but I feel like they're better when the fans give it to themselves and it kind of catches on. Just
That is a
giving
good
the
point.
fans like a nickname is just, I don't know, just kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just bringing it up because I thought it was kind of fun and we could do something weird.
Yeah, I think this will be definitely on the table for a while, and if we get some real fans and some feedback, maybe I'd like to consider it a lot more. But I think we'll pin that one up and we'll take it later.
Basically, we're letting you decide what you want to be called.
Yeah, especially that in particular. We may come up with something ourselves, but the next thing I want to bring up was the actual placement of introspection inspection, because we've had advice, and I don't know if we should move it to the end because some people just want us to get straight into the movie that we're discussing. But I don't know, like doing it now, I kind of like having it here because it allows me to kind of break the ice and get into the podcasting mode and hold a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like that first drink at a party.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah, your inhibition gets lower and
Yeah.
you say something really stupid.
Yeah, but I didn't know if maybe if need be we could like record it at the front and then move it to the back. So I don't know, but for now we're gonna keep it at the front. If you guys want us to move it to the back and get on with it, that way people who want to hear it can continue listening, and everyone else who doesn't want to, they can cut out right there. So yeah, let's move on to the object of our discussion.
Yes. Which I always introduce the movie. Luke can do it this time because he seems really gung-ho about this. Seems real excited. He knows what he's getting into. Luke was just massively excited when he saw the trailer. He was like, and when it ended in the theaters, he got up and he clapped and all that. So
I didn't see the movie. If I did, I wouldn't be here.
No, the trailer.
The trailer in the theater.
Oh, the trailer.
We're really hyped. So this is an important episode for you.
I don't think he knew we were going to be doing this until like a couple of days ago.
Yes. No. I know what we were doing.
Okay.
We were doing Sherlock Holmes, starring singer of the happy song Will Ferrell and Wreck-It Ralph, right?
Yes. They team up and they go on wacky adventures of Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
I wish that'd be a better movie, but no, it's Holmes and Watson. That's the name of the movie, Holmes and Watson 2018. It's not called Sherlock Holmes.
Well, that's his name.
No, it's his name, but the name of the movie is Holmes and Watson.
Yeah. I kind of threw you under the bus, or really, I threw you into the bus and then watched, the aftermath.
So now we're going to watch the trailer for Holmes and Watson 2018. That's a good start. Just them screaming at each other.
Sounds like our podcast.
Yeah.
No, our podcast is you guys stay so they can be ruining the joke.
So it's also like this movie, probably. Okay, so thus ends the trailer. And I think I've watched that trailer, but I couldn't remember if I had. I don't know if my brain just blocked it out, because I couldn't remember, what is the plot of this movie? What? I couldn't remember anything of it, and I actually seen that trailer.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
I knew we watched it, but I actually really couldn't think of anything about Holmes and Watson. It's kind of like a blank space in my head.
For me too. But I've seen that. It all came back to me. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this. Well, as soon as we kind of brought it up, I was thinking, because I'd heard some things about this that I want to discuss.
Yeah.
Just the reception to it has been interesting and hilarious to me. Because this movie has not been received well. This thing has been everyone's been avoiding it like the plague, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can see that in the amount of money it made.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? The budget was 40, 42.
Was it? I didn't look it up.
It made 41 million worldwide or something like that. So they didn't or barely made any money, which they probably didn't with advertising costs.
You gotta.
Like I said, you gotta make triple your budget.
Yeah.
So Holmes and Watson, it was dead on arrival in a way.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame, because when I was looking at that trailer, I was like, man, it's just so funny. None of this has been done before. Witty jokes and references. I was like, well, why did anyone like this movie?
Well, I'm not against this. I think it's been done before. There have been Sherlock comedies that are funny, and I think this is the kind of comedy you want, where it's a broad, timeless topic with lots of things you can play off of, And I kind of thought it was funny how they were riffing on the whole Guy Ritchie Sherlock,
Yeah, the idea is sound. The execution, not so much, because you actually have to be able to write jokes, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about that, the subject related to that.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to get into that per se yet, but I've always thought, what is the difference between childish humor and adult humor? It's got a bunch of curse words in it and things like that. And it's got a bunch of
sexual references
and things.
Yeah.
But people call it very childish.
Yeah.
So what's really the difference between adult humor and childish humor?
Yeah.
Aren't they basically...
They
that's
are
the
the same
problem.
thing. The difference is childish humor is this without swear words and sexual references. That's the only difference.
But they call this childish.
Well, I mean...
That's the issue that I have, is that...
Adult humor, a lot of times, is very childish.
That's what I don't
understand. Adult humor is childish, but childish humor can be its own thing. Yeah, it's almost like a paradox.
And also, I don't understand why this is PG-13.
Yeah, there's 2 S words in the trailer itself. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, there's even an F word in it. And then
well, you get one.
You get one, but there's also a bunch of other references. And 2, if you're going to go that far,
you may as well just go R.
Why not just go all the way over the edge? There's no point.
Although there was one joke in the trailer I did like, where they say, "Thank goodness we have a real doctor here," and then John C. Reilly's like, "Do you want some heroin?" I thought that was funny. Yeah. It cracked me up.
But I think
there's nothing funny about the heroin epidemic. To make jokes about that is just...
I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. What was I thinking?
I think a con is that, I don't know how to phrase it, but the fact that it is PG-13, or just it didn't non-committal rating, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Yeah, because they should have gone full R, because maybe you would have got kind of the adult crowd.
Yeah.
Because you're marketing this for everyone, but it's also a little too adult for half the people who might have gone to see it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's who is this for?
It seemed misguided to make it PG-13. So. I guess that's misguided PG-13.
Is that a
As
con?
a con, I think it's a con.
You know what I think would have been a much better idea? A Sherlock Holmes comedy movie that is done in the style of maybe like an Abrams Zucker film.
Yeah, but spoof movies. If you don't know, they did the most famous kind of spoof movies like Airplane and Top Secret and the Naked Gun series. But the spoof movie has kind of died, though. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, they're spoof moving.
Spoof movie.
Spoof moving.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it, spoof movie.
Well, you know, it's the Zuckers, Abrams Zuckers. They didn't really spoof a specific movie. They spoofed a genre, and you know, they could have spoofed the Sherlock Holmes genre that's really popular. You know.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, it's a timeless subject that, you know, everyone's going to always know about Sherlock, and we all, because they keep making different movies about it. You know, it's
TV
never gonna,
shows.
Yeah, and TV shows. Yeah, I didn't even think of
two modern ones going on. You know, Elementary and.
Man, I feel like a parody of the BBC one with Benedict Cumberbatch would be hysterical because it's already kind of slipped into self-parody.
Oh yeah, that one. I mean,
but don't even get me started.
Some people may argue that was good at the beginning, and I think so, but it really went over the edge with later seasons.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it, so I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, we've seen it, so we technically can't talk about it on the podcast. But it is. I feel like it has fallen off in later
We don't
seasons.
do TV shows.
Yes, so far, anyways.
Yeah.
Also,
You know what? We should review games we haven't played.
The
possibilities are endless.
Yes, we're gonna make
Put
a
it on
franchise.
YouTube. Do a Let's Play.
We watch Let's Players Let's Play and we comment on it as if we ourselves are playing it.
Anyways, Billy, back to your point.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, propose another con for a selfie joke in the trailer because the idea of the selfie in a time zone where it doesn't, or a time frame.
Zone.
I keep saying time zone.
No selfies in the mountain time. Yeah.
I keep doing that. There's something
If you're
weird
in
about
this
me.
time zone, they will ban you.
But like anachronistic selfie jokes seem to be like, was there one in Ice Age? I could have sworn, but
maybe
I don't know. But to me, it feels like the laziest because I wasn't against it in principle at first, but now everyone's doing it. So I feel like if you're scraping the bottom of the barrel for a selfie joke, it's a con.
I think
if you want to date your movie, add modern day references like that, you know.
It's kind of interesting the evolution of the selfie joke in a way because remember. There was the joke about you set up a camera and you have a timer and the person runs around and they always mess it up somehow. There was that, and then we got evolved to the selfie stick. You know, it's just the small evolution there of the picture jokes essentially.
Yeah, because like I mean, in their defense, our phones aren't going anywhere. They're topical always.
Yeah.
But I feel like the selfie joke is so overused now that I'm conning you for it on principle.
Yeah, that's fine. We can con on principle.
Yeah. And two, this movie does follow one of the cardinal sins of modern comedy that has slowly grown, is that you just find two, I guess in the past, funny people, and you just let them go nuts on a set.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk more about that as we get into amazing articles, which I guess we'll do.
The biggest shame about this movie is that, you know, at the very beginning, it was in development hell, from what I understand. This movie.
Was it? I didn't know.
Yeah, and you know, Lord Miller was up there.
Lord Miller.
So the people really wanted Lord Miller. Lord Miller himself was pretty interested in the idea. He was thinking about doing it.
He's English, so
he's English. He likes his comedy, you know, and stuff like that. But then they just didn't go with Lord Miller. I mean, he was interested in everything, but they just said no.
What is it with him always getting kicked off of movies? Or it seems to be
he's a visionary. People are afraid of visionaries.
Like, how many movies has he actually directed? Like, what?
I think he did the Lego movie.
The Lego movie? Well, yeah, he did do the Lego movie, and did he do Into the Spider-Verse? I think.
Yeah, I mean those were great, but just like
he can't break in the live action.
No, I know
it's really
it's weird.
hard. Yeah,
I don't know what it is. So he's got like 2 movies. Everyone knows he's brilliant.
Yeah,
but for some reason everyone keeps kicking him off. It's like he's cursed.
But I think they didn't get Lord Miller.
Yeah,
and I think it's a really big shame.
Yeah, put Con down for Lord Miller.
Yeah.
Poor Lord Miller.
I know. I was a bridesmaid. Never a bride.
Well, he was. Did 2 successful marriages, he still broke off with
it. Okay, amazing article.
Yes.
Okay, so this article's from Looper, and I mainly wanted it for the headline. Holmes and Watson, why people are walking out of the Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly comedy. It says the film is apparently so bad that it's prompting audiences to leave the theater in the middle of the movie, and some even requesting refunds for the cost of their tickets. And I thought that was interesting because there have been a lot of bad movies in recent years, but I've never heard of widespread stories like this of people walking out wanting refunds. So it made me think, what is in this movie that is so awful? Because it's got to be more than just a bad comedy, because there's been a ton of bad comedies that you haven't heard about this. And it was making me think, like, what if it's like The Producers, you know, where they made a play about Hitler? And what if there's some moment in there like that makes everyone just like recoil in horror and leave the theater?
I think I know the scene, though.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, don't reveal it now, because we'll say that for later. If that's a part of is that a part of a rando review or something?
Well, it's just things I've noticed. I don't think it's one I picked out.
Oh, okay.
But
well, then bring it up here now. If
essentially they get a blood cake, I think.
A blood cake?
Yeah, it comes up in Papa Prince's guides a little bit. We'll get some more detail on it. And,
a blood cake?
And they eat it and they vomit. And that is usually from the random reviews that I pick out, a lot of people left during that. They both vomit. So I think it's vomit, actually.
Yeah,
I don't think people like vomit.
Yeah. Maybe people don't.
Maybe we're missing the point of this movie. Maybe whoever directed this is a misanthrope and just hates humanity, and he made this movie just to punish people.
Or it's one of those films where, like, it's intentionally designed to upset audiences. It's kind of like a artistic statement. It's kind of like a Lars von Trier film where he makes it so brutal and unflinching that it's supposed to kind of upset you. I know I can see this angle, because, like, what does a blood cake have to do with Sherlock Holmes?
I don't know.
Maybe that's another problem, is like they had a concept and then they just went off the rails and did all this crazy stuff with it.
It sounds like you don't even need Sherlock Holmes and Watson. It could just be any two guys, basically.
Yeah, I wish I knew what the context of this blood cake is, because I'm kind of tempted to give it a pro just on the concept alone. It's very metal, the blood cake.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit of a description, I guess, but not much. It'll still be a big mystery.
Okay.
But pro for blood cake, con for the vomiting, or how do we feel about the vomiting?
You know, if it's on film, it doesn't really bother me that much.
I guess it depends on
Does
how
anyone want to
realistic
bet? Does anyone want to bet money that they actually ate a blood cake just because? It wouldn't surprise me.
I don't think they ate a blood cake.
Hey, I've heard actors who literally ate bugs and insects for part of the parts.
Oh yeah, well that's our Lord Savior Nicolas Cage. He's on a different level.
Well, I see. Maybe it was Nicolas Cage. He would have eaten the blood cake.
Yeah, he would have.
Actors in Hollywood have been trying to elevate their crafts to dangerous degrees. Maybe this is part of it. They gave Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly blood cakes and had them vomit on screen. I mean, it's so realistic. That's why people were just running out of the theaters just screaming, you know?
Yeah, and I'm kind of worried about how much we're saying vomit on this podcast.
I mean,
if I got to censor that or something?
No, vomit is fine.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like if Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly were trying to elevate their career in any ways, they would not have made Holmes and Watson if that was their goal.
But it's elevating their craft.
They're artists.
Oh, because they're suffering. They wanted to suffer for their art.
Yeah. Hollywood's trying to elevate their craft through, like we said, usually dangerous means, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
And, you know, so they really ate a blood cake and vomited on screen. That's why it's so horrific for people.
I wish we could stop saying this. We have to move away from this.
You made me repeat it.
I'm sorry. Okay, so...
They ate a blood cake and they threw up.
So you're saying they ate a blood cake and they threw up?
I think they ate a blood cake and just threw up everywhere and people left.
So let's put some pros and cons down.
They ate a blood cake and threw up.
Okay, stop.
Pros, they ate a blood cake and...
threw up.
Oh my goodness.
Stupid. It's like a joke that belongs to the Holmes and Watson.
Yeah, movie. I know. We're no better. We're making fun of this movie, but we are this movie.
Of course.
We're this movie in podcast form.
We can relate to this movie the most. That's why we can criticize it so much.
I guess so. Yeah, we have the right to.
Maybe Mom can make us a blood cake and we can eat it and throw it up.
Stop.
But also, did we want to give a pro for this movie being kind of a shock piece, a piece to get people Because I feel like, in a way, the movie has actually succeeded by driving people out of the theater. Like, it didn't want you to sit there and watch it. It wanted to get a visceral reaction.
A movie doesn't want to be watched.
Yeah, it's an artistic statement.
We'll talk about this in random reviews quite a bit as well. I mean,
I won't go into it anymore. I just think that's interesting.
Oh, it's just funny to me. A movie doesn't want to be watched or anything like that.
That itself is a brilliant idea.
I don't understand. Yeah. I don't understand artists. I will just say that.
We have a podcast where we review movies we haven't seen. It's in the same line. I feel like the more we talk about it, I feel like the more we are like this movie, and we are kind of fostering the same anarchic spirit.
Yeah, we have a podcast that we don't want anybody to listen to.
Yeah. Wait, no, that's not true. It's weird and it's artsy, so it's brilliant.
Exactly.
And you're all stupid for thinking otherwise.
What kind of made me realize how badly people were reacting to this film was I watched briefly a review from the Cinema Snob on YouTube. And in the comments here, people were sharing personal stories of how the movie affected them or what they saw when they were going to the theater. I just want to read a couple of these.
So you've gone in the field, Bill. You're out there hunting for the latest content about this stuff.
Yes, well, I'm more like a hunter who stumbled onto a fresh kill. I wasn't seeking it actively, and I found it anyways.
That's how a lot of journalists get their stories.
I guess
you get out there and you find a story, and the story comes to you.
Or they create one.
Yeah, see, we're detectives that only use circumstantial evidence, and we're detectives that stumble on to solutions to a case.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is a comment here on that video. It says, Holmes and Watson was so bad that my local movie theater has a screenshot of the Rotten Tomatoes page for that movie printed out and hanging next to the ticket counter. And I think the person in the comment, they were going to see like Spider-Verse, and I clipped it out by accident, but he saw like the people selling the tickets were trying to explain to someone like that the movie had been received badly, and were trying to persuade someone trying to buy tickets for Holmes and Watson that maybe they should reconsider. They were like, are you sure you want these tickets, basically, which I have never heard of ever.
That's some mad respect to that movie theater.
I know. You'd think they'd be taking money however they can, but maybe it's like it's such a travesty that not even the money was worth it to them. Like we, as a humanitarian, from an ethical standpoint, we cannot let people go into this blindly.
We're forced to host it, but we're not going to be happy about it.
Yeah. I just thought that was interesting that they would have the Rotten Tomatoes score. Like, they wanted people to know what they're buying. Because I guess they were having so many people want refunds. And
I don't want to be bothered with it.
Can you get refunds just in general?
I don't think you can.
Well, like, if you say you buy tickets, you go in, you're not in there very long, you're like in there 10 minutes, they still work? Because that's weird to me that they would give you refunds.
I guess it would depend on the movie theater.
Is the movie theater a refundable experience in a way, in that regard? Because...
Well, I don't think, like, if you sat through the whole movie and then came out, they would give it to you. But say you watch half or a quarter, would they give you, a refund?
That's very interesting. I think maybe the topic of another podcast. But,
maybe not.
We need to go really in the field for this one.
I guess so.
Okay. That would be too much effort.
And then in the next comment there is, it says, I work at a movie theater, and I saw a guest who looked really mad when he walked out of Holmes and Watson. So I asked him what he thought of the movie, and he said that was the most blanking, expensive nap I've ever taken. I thought that was funny. But you can get nap in. So.
Trust me, I saw that in the random reviews. Yeah. I've steered away from that one, just because it comes up a lot. But yes, people were taking naps.
But we haven't talked about it in a while, and it's kind of nice to see a familiar face, crop up again.
Yep,
it's like the creepy uncle who comes by every so often. You can't get rid of him.
Yeah, and that leads into kind of one of the major things I want to talk about with this movie is, we talk about the first draft movie. To me, this is an outline movie, because it's become a common thing with comedies where there's almost no script. Like, you might have a scene, maybe we do this and that, but they just let the actors kind of just riff and ad lib, and they take like the best parts and kind of cut them up into a movie. Because they did that with Ghostbusters, I think. Yeah,
Deadpool also had a lot of that, didn't it?
Well,
it was more directed, but they did have several scenes and takes. It's similar.
Yeah, that one's to me is a little different because ad-libbing is Deadpool's thing, and I think there was a movie written. I think on certain jokes let him do more than one. No, I'm not talking about like more than one take. I'm talking about like they just put the actors in a room and
Yeah.
say play a scene out.
Yeah.
You know, they don't write the scene. They just have them. You know, it's basically just improv.
Yeah,
You know,
it
like
is
I'm not
improv.
good. It's like what I'm not good at. It's exactly like improv. And you can't make movies like that. You can't make a finely tuned experience with clever jokes if everyone's just coming up with garbage off the top of their head.
You might get away with a good short, maybe like 30
Yeah,
minutes,
I mean,
but not a full-length movie.
And it can happen. It can be successful in short bursts because some of the most famous movie lines were ad-libbed. But if every scene is just composed of people trying to ad-lib and create a scene out of nothing, there's no structure. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's all fat, no skeleton. You know, you got to have a skeleton to hang your story on. Yeah, so I'm giving it a con for ad-lib movie.
Yeah.
The ad-lib movie. Ugh.
I know. I that's what reason I haven't seen many comedies recently because I can't stand that style of humor.
That's all it is nowadays.
Well, it's easy. You just
Oh,
stick
it's
your
easier,
actors in
yeah.
a room, like, well, you guys are comedians, so you can go ahead. You know.
You're funny. Say funny things.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, well that's it for amazing articles. If we wanted to move on to rando reviews.
Yep. I think
But of course.
I was debating who to start with, and I think we'll start with Jaden because he's brought to my attention, like actors can get away with a lot, and people just let them.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are absolute geniuses. They just stole $11 from me, and I absolutely let them. Think about it. You're down there at the theater going to see their movie. Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly just come out and say, give me $11, and you give it to them.
Oh my goodness.
What?
But the movie, it weakens your defenses and you're susceptible to suggestion.
So I've been pretty sympathetic to actors because a lot of them have been dying in movie production, but Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are mugging people outside of theaters.
Basically, that's what I get from this, and it's terrible, and there's no news about it or anything. You know.
The Will Ferrell thing, and I'm happy as
Yeah.
he stole the money and ran off.
I just had a thought. What if there is no movie? What if they made a trailer, they lured people into theaters with posters and stuff, and you don't get a film, you just get Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly mugging you at the door. No wonder people were asking for refunds.
Yeah.
It wasn't because the movie was bad, it's because there was no movie. It was all like a setup, a crime setup.
Yeah.
They have there's a movie screen, it's like shooting psychedelic colors and all that. It paralyzes you, it makes you susceptible to, like I said, the suggestion or vulnerable.
I'm not even saying it made you susceptible. I'm saying you walk in, there's nothing. It's just an empty, dark theater. Then all of a sudden, from the shadows, come Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, and they're kind of big, scary dudes, anyways.
Yeah.
And they maybe John C. Reilly, he's got a club, or you see a glint of steel beneath his coat, and they're like, "Hey, friend, give us the $11." And what are you going to do at that moment? You're going to give them your $11.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got star power and melee weapon power.
Yeah,
so.
they got physical power and star power.
Wait, was that the reason they were trying to tell that guy to watch a movie? They're like, don't go in there.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are in there. They will rob you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly $11. Don't know the reason behind that, but they only steal $11.
Well, because they don't want, because they know everyone's going to have $11 on them, probably. They don't want a big amount. You start messing with big amounts, the IRS wants to get involved.
Yeah, government.
And they kind of want people to think that, this person lost $11. They saw a movie. It goes under the rug. But I wonder what they had on all these theaters that, like, why didn't the employee actually explain what's happening? Maybe they had the employee's family.
Star power.
It's a grip. Hollywood does have a grip on these movie theaters. Think about it. All they have to say is, you let Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly do this, or you ain't getting any more movies.
That's true. Yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe they took all their employees and set them down and said, okay, you can try to warn people not to come in, but you cannot tell them why.
And that wasn't even every theater. It was just one theater. They actually had the morals to, try to go against it somewhat.
Yeah, the others may have just been like, whatever. Money's money. Hollywood has all the power. Okay, so I'm giving it a con, but you can go ahead and keep reading.
Yep. Continuing, this movie was a complete waste of time and money. Of course it was. That wasn't him. That was me saying that. And it's definitely the worst thing I've ever seen. The jokes were dry and dated. The movie was so boring, my brothers fell asleep. Please keep these 2 men out of your pocket and go see something modernly decent like Mary Poppins Returns. So are they cracking jokes as they rob you?
I don't know.
Maybe his brothers didn't pay up, so we clunked him over the head. They just fell asleep. You know?
Well, he said movie, which I think is weird. Maybe they like do a little routine, and they're like, "Hey, you like our movie? You like our movie? Now give us the money." And they're like, "That's not a movie. You're just robbing me."
Yeah, maybe they like play 10 minutes of a movie, then it goes dark.
They play the trailer.
Well, they have a little bit. 10 minutes.
Yeah,
of
maybe
a
they
movie.
recorded a little footage.
Think about it. People are leaving about the 10-minute mark. I think.
That would make sense.
10 minutes of a movie.
Yeah.
Then it goes dark. John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell just come out. Yeah. Give us money. And stuff like that.
Well, I was thinking like logistically too. Like they lure you in. You see the movie. Like at first I thought it was an empty room, but that wouldn't make sense. You would be like, "What's going on?" Yeah. But no, they start playing the movie. You sit down. You get comfortable. You have your popcorn and Coke. You're seated. You're lower. They come in through the door. They blocked your exit. Maybe John C. Reilly blocks the exits, and Will Ferrell blocks the main door. Yeah, you're stuck. What are you going to do?
And then you notice that the exit signs in the front and the back, they're off. And
they turned them off.
They're off, and if you go to those doors, they're locked.
That would make sense. They probably locked the doors.
Yeah. And so there's no exit. The only exit is $11 to them.
Yeah, man. Every time I think I've figured out, just how corrupt Hollywood is. I find some new weird level.
They can no longer make good movies, so they just resort to robbing people. Instead of dressing it up as a movie, they just rob people now.
Yeah. Well, Julie, she has the exact same thing. Is it possible to start a class action suit against Sony,
oh my goodness,
Will Ferrell, and John C. Reilly for defrauding people of their money? Horrendous movie? People all over the theater could be heard saying, "That's the worst movie I've ever seen." Beavis and Butthead mentality. So
who is the Beavis and Butthead mentality?
I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
It's a bad movie.
Is that what it means?
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, she just we need to. Sony is in on this. Of course they are.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe we're throwing Hollywood under the bus. Maybe Sony's gone rogue. Maybe they're setting all this up.
No, Sony is good and a perfect company. Did nothing wrong. It's Hollywood that's being evil.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Sony's fine.
Sony has given us many gifts: the Emoji Movie and Peter Rabbit.
Especially Peter Rabbit. Yes. We love Peter Rabbit.
Especially Peter Rabbit.
You hear that? We love Peter Rabbit. Okay. So, anyways,
right. So that was
just Hollywood.
Those two, and then we have Roll. It's ROEL. I don't know what that name is.
ROEL.
ROEL. Yes.
Roel. He's French, like George Lecan.
So, was wrong of me to have ever read any of these bad reviews. Almost didn't go see the film, but decided to anyways. Was not disappointed. It had tons of jokes that had me laughing throughout. Sure, there was a couple of cheese moments, but they are kind of funny for being so cheesy. Huh. So maybe maybe they do have a comedy routine. Lots of cheese in it. Throw cheese out. And then they blindside you. But
I'm thinking maybe he enjoyed the short thing they do to lure you in.
Could be.
And also, to be fair, you are getting to meet Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
It is fair enough.
If you are a fan of them, like this guy clearly is, maybe you don't mind because you're basically paying to meet them like you would at a con or something.
Yeah.
So I guess I can see why some people wouldn't be so offended by it. Like him, and especially like cheese joke, apparently.
Yes.
So cheese jokes.
Cheese jokes. He continues. Yes, it won't live up to the movie Step Brothers, but come on, it still had some very funny moments.
The movie Step Brothers.
Yeah, there was the first kind of collaboration between John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell, and I'm assuming they actually made a movie this time and not something to lure people in.
Yeah.
But yeah, people look fondly on that. That's.
Well, that was in the past when Hollywood was so strapped for cash.
I guess so.
Overall, go watch the film. And from now on, let's go back to the good old days when you just went with your bros and just went and seen for yourself if it was good. I think this guy might be a plant. Think about it. He's trying to get people to get in there.
That would make sense, yeah. Don't listen to all this. Just come in. Give us your money.
Yeah, but if, one person out of a sea of people say, don't eat this plant, it will kill you, will you still listen to them?
Yeah, I don't know. That's true.
Well, we go on with Carrie.
I don't want to bring up, is it also a pro-con? Because if you like Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly a lot, you're essentially getting to meet them?
I think so, yeah. It's like a meet. It's a little bit different, but it is like a meet and greet.
Wow,
yeah.
Mr. Reilly, that's a cool-looking guy.
Yeah. Maybe if you're lucky and they're in a good mood, they got a good haul that day, you can get something signed,
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Sign this ransom note.
So we got Carrie. Who doesn't love a good Will Ferrell movie? And they have a positive.
Another fan.
Yeah, they gave it a thumbs up. Well, this is certainly far from one. This is the worst movie that I've ever seen in well over 10 years.
Whoa, that was a heel turn.
Man, I got blindsided.
That's one thing I've noticed about this, is that people who give it a thumbs up in the thing I'm using, they seem to hate it. I don't know why. They're recommending it, but they hate it.
That's weird.
So,
maybe, do they think it's like a way to indicate like they're done or something? Or
I don't know.
Or maybe everyone's suffering from M. Night Shyamalan disease where they can't help but do a twist.
Yeah, I just don't know why. There's like another review I have here who gave it a positive, but they said they hated it. It's kind of weird.
Maybe it's a misclick.
Yeah, I
Could
don't know.
be. Which says a lot, because for the past 10 years I've sat through all those painful children movies. Their accents made me want to poke myself in the eye with a sharp stick. You could hear a pin drop in the theater throughout the entire movie. Not one laugh or even a snicker.
Oh, of course, once they come out, everyone's just like stone-faced
But
and horrified.
here's the kicker. To top all the agony off, it turned into a musical. They
Oh.
come in singing and dancing.
Oh,
I didn't
man.
think about that. They're robbing you and singing and
Oh,
dancing.
talking about insult to injury.
And they're talking in terrible accents still for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yes, a musical. Pure torture for an hour and a half.
Whoa, okay, so...
Think about it. You're in the theaters. 10 minutes of a movie plays. John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell come out on stage. There's actually a stage.
Yeah.
A musical starts for like an hour and a half. After that, they rob you of your money. It's the perfect
They wear
plot.
you down.
They do.
You're so weak and tired.
You're stunned by this turn of events.
The doors are locked. You can't get out even from the one you came in through. You know, it's with the theaters. Once you get in there, they just lock all the doors.
Oh,
You
man.
can't escape. You're in a musical for half an hour. You're just like, please let it
Please
in.
stop. Please let it stop. Yeah, this is a disgusting misuse of the power of musicals. Musicals are supposed to uplift you and fill you with energy. And here they are harnessing it for crime. I won't stand for this. Darn it.
Alright, so we are going to IMDb a little bit.
Okay.
And we have Miha, 1983. They gave it a 9 out of 10, said funny comedy is their title. I would begin this review by saying that everything is relative. Let's think of abstract art, for example. At first glance, you would be tempted to say it was painted by a 5-year-old child. But because it received the appreciation of some art critics, people have seen this current in a positive light. I think the same thing happened here. People read the negative reviews, and the subconscious rated the film as a bad one from the start. I personally amused and laughed a lot. Is not this the purpose of a comedy? If you have a cinematic culture, you're already familiar with the Will Ferrell style, and you will know the expectations. If you are allergic to peanuts, don't eat them. Haters gonna hate anyway. So this person took a different approach on it, a more abstract approach. I think they enjoyed it. I think they enjoyed the musical. Some people might enjoy the musical segment.
Except I hate abstract art.
Well, this kind of going back to the other point of it being an artistic statement. Let's assume that we misunderstood and Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly aren't just using it as a ploy to rob people. This person is saying that you shouldn't let the reviews cloud your judgment before you go in to see a movie. You should allow it to you should take it at its own face value.
Yeah, that was the main point of a lot of reviews. Like, the reviews for this one are split straight down the middle. I think there's a little bit more hate than love, but like, anybody who's made a good review is going to say, what's with all the 1-star reviews? And you got people who hate it are just going to say, I hate this movie. That seems to be the through line. Like I said...
Well, maybe these people, like, either we've completely misunderstood, and they aren't being robbed, and in which case there is an actual movie for you to watch, and maybe there are people who got it. Like, as we pointed out, this movie is supposed to make you reject it, make you hate the movie. But what are these people? They understand the artistic message being conveyed, and that's why they like it.
It could be, because we have this person. We have Hello Dakalakas.
Well, before you continue, I kind of hate that mentality. Like, it's like, everything's relative. It's like, well, you can't judge anything. Why have a review system at that point, you know?
I don't think anyone on earth, like, necessarily, like, they see a bunch of bad reviews, and then they go see the movie, and they still hate it because they saw a bunch of bad reviews. I feel like if a movie is good enough, you're going to react to it and enjoy it as it was meant to be enjoyed.
That's what I found in the reviews, is that everybody's like, well, why the bad reviews? I went to watch it, I saw the negative reviews, and I liked it. So they really undermine their own point with the whole thing.
I mean, I'm saying, like, reviews can cloud your perception. But I don't think I personally have ever like seen a trailer and was like, I don't really think it's going to be good, and then went to see it and was just like still hated it simply because I had that perception at the beginning. I've been won over by movies many times, and I feel like that's how it normally goes.
The other thing is that it may just be stealing your money. So, I said.
So we don't know.
Maybe this is just people who are they're embarrassed they got robbed. They're just trying to justify it.
There's a ton of different options here. One, there's just a mundane, goofy, poorly written comedy. Two, it's an artistic statement that is meant to drive you out of the theater intentionally. Three, Will Ferrell does you robbing you. And the fourth option here is that is the case, and these people are just trying to put a good face on it, and either they were appreciative of the fact they got to meet those guys, or they were embarrassed, and now they're trying to cover it up.
It's like the people who were sold the Eiffel Tower from the con man and wouldn't talk about it, so a bunch of people were scammed, basically.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to interpret this movie.
It's an interesting movie,
It is, it really is.
It's not so much the movie itself, but everything around the movie.
Yeah. So we have Elodocalakis. I have no idea how to say his name. IMDb is a bit weird because people have custom usernames most of the time.
Yes.
New Age funny, clever jokes, and twists. That's the title. Another masterpiece from Gary Sanchez Productions. Witty and smart, doesn't let your attention take up a minute break. Naysayers, you've been punked. The jokes are well hidden between carefully crafted scenes and conversations. Ethan Cohen excels in smuggling the humor in front of you.
Who?
Ethan Cohen?
Ethan Cohen?
Yeah.
Who is this, the director?
Ethan Cohen.
Am I saying that right?
Etu
where
Cohen?
am I looking? I think you meant Ethan Cohen.
Oh, well, he wrote Ethan Cohen excels in smuggling
I guess it's a director.
the humors in front of you, and John C. Reilly gets the direction.
Yeah, I mean, he was an actor in the film. Of course he was directed.
Like the stand-up comedian who botches well-known and overused cliche punchlines on purpose, I dare to say this piece of comedic art will represent a new chapter in the history of court jesters.
What? Court jesters?
Thanks to all contributing to this new era of ingenious entertainment, it has been a privilege to become part of modern history.
Okay, well, I feel like he's being facetious, first of all. And second of all, I don't know. He thinks court jesters are a genre of film or something.
What's with this purple prose?
I think he's calling comedians court jesters.
Oh,
that's what they refer to sometimes, but not.
I lost the thread because that sentence was so long. I couldn't tell he was referring to anymore.
His writing style is very interesting.
It's like I said. It's purple prose. The review.
So I guess I feel like he's not being truthful either. That feels like even if you saw this movie and it was actually a movie and you kind of enjoyed it, you would not refer to it as a historic moment. This person is clearly pulling one on us.
I think he's been robbed.
Yeah, he's been robbed and he's just writing this to make it sound good.
Or he's a court jester trying to trick all of us.
All right. So the last review I'm going to read on this episode, because after this I'm going to explain, talk about the other one.
Okay.
All right. We got Let's Get It Boppin', and this is actually from I think the Google review.
Twist it, slap it.
This movie seemed to be made with the idea that everyone has the sense of humor of a 4-year-old child. And that's what I was talking about, was that it's really adult, but then it's childish humor.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No matter how much you like these two, this movie is not worth your money, and especially not your time.
Unfortunately, your money is being stolen regardless. So.
Yeah. Unfunny to the point I was cringing, the review could stop there. I have nothing else I would bother saying about other aspects of this movie. So he says the review can't stop there, but he's going to talk about how he has nothing else to say. So he's a genius.
It's always a brilliant thing to do in writing. Now I'm wondering, he said it was cringy. I'm wondering if maybe, is this the cringe, the super weapon that was...
Holmes and Watson is the cringe that the Predator gave us to fight the other Predators?
That would make sense,
That's true.
Maybe he got a copy of the footage.
And maybe, actually... What if the cringe just refers to John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell? What if they're the weapons that we got from the Predator? Think about it. They locked the Predators in a movie theater and robbed them.
The only people able to do that is John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell.
They're the Predator's only weakness.
Robbing you in a theater.
Who was that first review that wrote that?
That was Jaden. Jaden was the one who let us on that train of thought.
I'm gonna say Jaden Smith. Thank you, Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith. Yeah.
Can we see
Maybe
if our
it was
eyes aren't
Jaden
real?
Smith.
Yeah, your eyes may not be real, but your reviews are, and I love them. Thank you.
All right. So this one I'm not going to read out on the podcast. I'm going to explain the situation behind it. We have Zardoz 13 with the title Elementary Nonsense and Varying Degrees of Lunacy. And I labeled that, I think he was trying to get his PhD in Holmes and Watson. It could be. Because he wrote an entire... basically essay.
Like it's a thesis. It's like a PhD thesis.
He starts with like the history of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
He goes on to kind of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Then he goes on to the Cohen, I'm assuming the director's history, and then he goes on to talk about the movie itself. So it's like four segments.
Good grief.
Each
Where
detailing
was this?
it's on IMDb.
Oh, gee.
And it's detailing like the different histories and going into it. So this will be probably bonus content that we'll have. I'm not sure where we're going to put it. But
Yeah, we might put it on Patreon if we ever get one.
it'll be somewhere. But if you ever want to listen to it, we will read it out all the way and comment on it. Because it is a lot to digest. I haven't gone through it all the way.
You know, the director's name is Ethan Cohen, and which is weird to me because like Joel and Ethan Cohen are famous directors of like, you know, No Country for Old Men and Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Is this the same Ethan Cohen? Like he moonlights as a crummy comedy director, or was he like the mastermind behind Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, and he planned the whole like robbery at the theaters?
What if the robbery is like part of the art direction, the abstract nature of the art itself, the craft of the art?
I didn't even think of that.
It's like so deep that they do put on a show. Remember, there's there's an hour and a half
musical.
Yeah, so it's more
musical.
effort than just actually just robbing someone.
Right.
That would, and we were talking about how they were slumming it and that they weren't elevating their craft, but holy cow, maybe they are. Maybe they're making a statement about how Hollywood is robbing us of our money by putting out subpar products. Good grief. This has
gone layers so deep we can't even comprehend it
We
anymore.
become ogres at
We
this
need
point.
a supercomputer to comprehend it.
Yeah. Okay, so is that it for random
That
reviews?
is it for random reviews.
Okay, well,
except for that bonus one, which we'll do sometime.
Let's just run through the facts and follies real quick here.
The fact is, this movie literally robs you.
Yeah,
Probably.
maybe.
It's so deep in its layers that you have to dig a long time before you find it.
Well, I don't mind art, but when the art piece just starts to rob me, maybe I have second thoughts there.
Yeah, as good as the point they might be trying to make is,
I
can't condone robbery. Yeah. Okay, so these two first facts, I kind of just backed up everything we've been saying, where it says, according to Deadline, after disastrous test screenings, Sony attempted to sell the film to Netflix, which declined. Which, I guess, I don't know how Netflix, how would they steal your money through Netflix? I don't know how that would...
Well, I got it. So think about it. They have this movie that they're trying to make that Netflix doesn't want it.
Yeah.
They know at this point.
Oh,
the poor screenings. They're going to lose so much money. What are we going to do? They sit down with John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. What are we going to do?
And Will Ferrell and Johnny Reilly go, we rob them.
Yeah, okay, that would make
Ethan
sense.
Cohen's like, I've got a plan. You know, they all three they talk it out a long time, and they get out their plan. Now they're robbing people in theaters with musicals, and they lure them in. Just
if they had put this much effort into the movie, they wouldn't be in this.
I know that's always the weird thing about crime to me is that oftentimes crime takes just as much effort as like an average job. But yeah, that makes sense. So there was a movie, and that's what they're showing you, I guess.
Yeah,
they're
just
showing
a
you
little bit.
They're showing you a little bit at the very least. And they tried to sell the full thing, I'm assuming, and it didn't work out. That's what drove them, because the very poor reception at the beginning is what drove them to crime.
Yeah, think about it. They didn't. It says reportedly they only got like $40 million. They got way more from direct. I said direct donations. I think.
They just don't want to talk about that because it's
in their
illegal,
Swiss
obviously.
bank account.
Yeah, and during this other fact, it's going with what we were saying. During the opening days of its Christmas 2018 release, exhibitors reported an astonishing number of walkouts. So they were trying. Maybe if you paid, they let you leave. Like maybe you didn't have to sit through the entire musical.
Yeah.
Maybe that was only just to wear you down. But if you were willing to pay right up front, maybe they let you go.
Yeah.
And that's why they were so like I was just robbed. We can't get back in there because you can't leave unless you pay. And then here's another fact. Composer Christoph Beck did a score which not used, which I just
Obviously.
I just wanted to say I'm very sorry, Christoph Beck.
Maybe it's a good thing because your name's not attached to this.
Yeah, you weren't.
This robbery.
Because you would be liable and complicit now if your score was used. So
They
you dodged
decided
the
to
bullet.
use a musical instead
Yeah.
of your score.
Oh yes, and here's another fact that I forgot about. The North American European cuts of the film have different openings. In the North American cut, Holmes and Watson meet each other at high school when they are teenagers. In the European cut, an adult Holmes accidentally saves an adult Watson from committing suicide, which I thought was weird. They have such different endings for Europe and
Beginnings.
Yeah.
beginnings
Yeah.
and such different beginnings.
That's weird. You think that would be the Japanese cut, the suicide.
we had to cut that out.
What is wrong with you people? We were pushing you at the Polish teenagers and now this.
I know.
Couldn't help it.
But I was just wondering, like, are the Europeans okay with like suicide jokes, but
I guess so.
America isn't?
I hope they are anyway.
Well, they're all.
Don't say you can't say stuff like that.
You're gonna cut it out anyway.
I'm gonna have to. But maybe it's because does Europe really have high schools? Is the way we think about it?
Oh, probably not.
That's probably why it wouldn't work.
Still, it's kind of drastic.
That's a weird change. Like, well, we can't make him in high school, so we'll make Watson kill himself. It's a perfect change. It's
Yes.
exactly the same. Okay, well, that was all the facts. Now on to the goofs. Anachronisms. The climax involves Queen Victoria aboard the Titanic. She died in 1901. The Titanic was ordered in 1908 and made its first voyage in 1912. I just wanted to figure out, how does the Titanic play into this Sherlock Holmes movie, quote unquote?
How do they get all the way to America where it's set off if it's made in voyage?
That's true. Like, are they, they're in England to begin with.
I mean, there was like a few English passengers, but it took off in New York.
Well, maybe that's part of the reason people were so incensed. Not only they're being robbed, they have to watch this horrid mockery of the Titanic tragedy at the very end of this short clip they're shown.
Yeah.
But it made me start thinking of like a weird take on Sherlock Holmes where like he has to find a way to keep the Titanic from sinking, or there's like a crime aboard the Titanic and he's going to solve it before the Titanic sinks. I know, I got my mind racing of a
Somebody
possible...
has transported Sherlock Holmes onto the Titanic, and he's got to solve a problem there.
With a rapping dog.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, like, well, maybe say Sherlock went to America to solve another crime for whatever reason, and then while he's there, he gets invited on the Titanic, and like a murder happens in the Titanic, and he's got to solve it before the ship goes down and destroys all the evidence. There's a movie there.
I was thinking of the time element. Think about it. There's like someone who's teleporting Sherlock Holmes to different points in time to solve different crimes, things like
That's
that.
another option.
So
I think that TV
what
show.
What if the Titanic wasn't sunk by an iceberg? What if this is like revisionist history? We'll say. What if like it was a plot to sink the Titanic, and that's what Sherlock has to stop?
Right.
There's like 5-6 good movie plots in here.
yeah, we really stumble onto some things on this
I know.
podcast.
Yeah, this is going to be called like a brainstorming podcast for like movie ideas.
I would suggest Hollywood call us, but you might kill us.
Yeah.
So.
But I guess they put the Titanic. The
Yeah.
Titanic didn't exist yet.
I think Con the Titanic.
It wasn't even a twinkle in the creator's eye.
Yeah.
Not even God could sink this movie.
That would be the tagline of our movie. Not even God could think this. That it has like a really horrible box office. Okay, well, I guess that's it, huh?
Yep, that's it.
All right.
So,
We now have to go through our pros and cons and our pro cons.
yep.
And then we'll come up with a review for the film and see how it measures up.
How can you review if there is a movie here? I guess.
don't know.
I guess we can review the scheme. Like, it's a pretty good scheme. I don't know if that's
admittedly.
fair.
Well, let's go through the pros and cons
Yeah.
first. Okay, so cons. It's a very misguided PG-13. Probably would have been better to go full R. At least you would get the adult audience.
Yeah. Although they go full R when they're robbing you, so
Yeah. There's a selfie joke, which, points off immediately.
Another selfie joke.
Yeah. I feel like there's like a whole list of jokes with me that if I see it, I'm like, ugh, but I can't think of what they would be. There's one that gets me where it's like when the boy sees the pretty girl and then like a love song plays and he's like got like heart effects. I've seen that in a cajillion movies. I hate that one.
Yeah, it's just like movie tropes that are
Yeah, it's basically a
should
trope.
die basically.
Yeah. Okay, and then there's no Lord Miller. which we keep running into this, but it's always
well, maybe
a bad
that's
thing.
the reason they kicked him out, because he wasn't willing to go along with the scheme.
That's
this
true.
was in development hell.
Yeah, well, maybe not.
Yeah, that's maybe not, because then he wouldn't have known. But
he dodged the bullet.
But they wouldn't have to have done that if they had gotten Lord Miller.
Yeah.
So, like, Lord Miller could have saved us all, but,
Once again,
musical robbery.
Yeah. It's an ad-lib movie, what little of it remains.
Well, they're ad-libbing up there on the stage.
Yeah, they're definitely doing that, too. So, Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly rob you. There is not really a movie there.
I wonder if they ate the blood cake and threw up while they were singing.
I think so, yeah.
I think that the short film they show you is just blood cake, the Titanic travesty. It's just all
and
the most
selfie
horrific.
stick.
Yeah, all the most horrific parts of the movie. Because I think that selfie joke is almost as bad as the Titanic itself. And then second to last con here. I wrote it. I don't know if I actually mentioned it, but they use a musical for evil purposes, which I think is heinous.
Oh yeah, you kind of went on a little tangent about that. So.
Yeah. And then the Titanic we put as a con. So
Yes.
I can't remember it just in the film or the fact that it was a horrible thing and we're sorry it
I
happened.
think that's fair enough. Titanic con because
a lot of people died.
A lot of
it's
people
awful.
died. They used it in the film. Multifaceted.
We'll use that to make up for all the horrible things we normally say.
Yeah.
And then pro con, this kind of goes with the fact that they rob you. You do get to meet Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, or you would have if you'd seen the movie at the time, or lack of movie.
Yeah.
And then pros, they ate a butt cake and they threw up. Wait, we just gave a con for that. Never mind.
No, we didn't. I was just asking. I was wondering if they did that live on stage, or if it was part of the movie.
No, that is a pro.
Yeah, I don't know why it's a pro, but it is, and I'm not going to question it anymore. If it's not robbery, it may be an artistic statement about how
Hollywood is robbing us.
Yeah, or that...
Well, the movie itself could be an artistic statement on that. It doesn't want anybody to watch it.
Yeah.
Or the robbery could be an artistic statement.
Yeah.
Or it could just be a heinous criminal act.
Yeah,
so.
it may just be a crime. But if it is a movie that's designed to repel you, I feel like it has artistic value in that regard because it's kind of,
and it repels
it's subverting your expectations of what a movie is supposed to do.
Because you expect to go and see a movie. You don't expect to be robbed.
That was the other one.
Your expectations have been subverted.
I'm talking about if the movie exists and it's just so bad, it's supposed to make you not want to watch it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, too. If that's the case. It may just be robbery.
Yeah.
Cheese jokes. So we
might throw cheese at the audience at one point.
Sometimes we just need pros. Oh yeah, and this we kind of just discussed it, but the thievery might be artistic in nature. Like as we said, they're making a statement about how Hollywood robs you by literally robbing you. Okay, yeah, so it's all the pros and cons here. Oh man, I'm so divided on this. On one hand, I do think it's an impressive scheme, and they got away with it, so it's pretty interesting that they were able to do that without any kind of law enforcement getting involved whatsoever. And if they do intend it as a statement about how Hollywood is robbing us through poor quality films, I also see the value there. But at the same time, when I go to a theater to watch a movie, I want a movie. So at its core, this film it's not a film. At its core, this is not giving me the thing I signed up for.
It has not performed its function.
All pros and cons aside.
Yeah. I think I have my score. Considering it all, I'm going to give it a solid 33%.
33?
Because I like the scheme, but all the negatives weigh it down, so I'm giving it 1/3 of 100.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna give it a 10%, and I'm picked 10% because I feel like it's only 10% of a movie. Like you get a little bit, but most of it's just robbery. As much as I respect the robbery, I can't give them points for that. Like we're not a robbery review podcast. We're a movie reviewer. Darn it, and that's what I will do.
No, we're not. We
review movies we haven't seen. We review trailers and our own preconceptions that have to do with movies. But robbery's not a movie. That's my point.
This is the hardest one ever.
Yeah.
I'll just go, I don't know, just say 17%. I don't know, that number hit me first. I'm like, 17, that's a nice number.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It feels like a 17% movie, but 10% is fine for me. But I get your reasoning. 17 is a weird number to me.
It is. Maybe that's why it came to my head. It's like, well, what should I review? And then 17 just went boom. And I'm like, 17.
Well, it's a travesty. We don't have a repeating decimal. It's just 20% average.
That's right, because my 17 goes to his...
You countered me, Lou. You activated your trump card.
That's right.
Oh well.
I'm repeating the decimal and I'm fading away.
33.33 repeating for me. That's my new score. So now we got a 0.3 repeating. I revived him. No, it's just 20%.
All right, and let's see how.
He's taking a break this week. He's on vacation.
Okay.
This is 50.
Let's see how ours stacks up.
See, the audience score is the one I really want to see.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
My only worry is that, we made Peter Rabbit mad. And now we've made, Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly mad. What are we going to do? Like, we can't have people keep coming in here and almost killing us. Like,
I don't know. I wish we could stick more to the actual movie itself, but we keep stumbling onto these secret plots and stuff. It's not our fault. I'm not trying to find it. It just keeps happening.
All right, I got it up.
Okay.
We have 10% for critics and 27% for audiences. So
Yeah, and I knew it was 10% because I saw it earlier, so I didn't win. I just
the audience won this time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah,
only
it's
7% different from us.
Okay.
So audiences, congratulations!
Yay.
I think the critics have won a lot. So
Yeah.
and this time it's a bit of an upheaval.
But do we really win with this movie?
No, and I feel like it's pretty bad that the critics gave this 2 points higher than the Emoji Movie, which is, by all accounts, a modern classic.
It really is at
You
this
know.
point.
This isn't even a movie, really.
Well, what did that guy say? He was like he had like the purple probes. It was like in the Hall of Modern Movie Making or whatever. That's the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, it's historic. And I guess we can say this movie decidedly did not slap.
Yes,
Yes.
it did.
Yes.
0 slaps out of 100.
Yep. Because that is our eternal quest to find out if a movie slaps or not.
However, maybe they slapped you with a blackjack, but we don't know that.
Yeah, it slaps you with the butt of a gun, in the hand of John C. Reilly.
You survived the musical, anyways.
Yeah, that doesn't kill you. Okay, well, I guess that's it.
Yep.
This has been Much Review About Nothing. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at muchreviewan@gmail.com, and you can talk to us on Twitter @muchreviewAN, and we also have a YouTube channel of the same name, Much Review About Nothing.
I have a few episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, but I think that's everything. I think hopefully we're going to make a Patreon soon.
Eventually,
maybe around 10 episodes, we'll see.
I'd like to see if we could gain a pretty consistent audience at that point.
Yeah.
How they want us to monetize eventually, if that ever becomes a thing.
Yeah, and if you are listening right now, please review. That lets us know you're listening.
Yeah.
Because we get a lot of stats saying people are listening. I don't know how to interpret them. The only way to know for certain is if you leave us a review or a comment or something.
You don't even have to make it like a 4-paragraph thesis review.
No,
You can
no.
just write a thumbs up and say this sucked.
Yeah, we don't need a PhD thesis. We just want 2 words, awesome job, whatever.
Or bad job.
Or bad
either
job.
one.
We don't care. We just want acknowledgement. We're desperate, please. All right. Well, I guess we'll sign off then if no one has anything else to say.
Nope.
All right. I've been your host, Billy Greer.
I've been Jake Greer.
And I've been Luke Greer.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, oops, we forgot to do our episode MVPs. I'll go ahead and list them out real quick here. First of all, we have Luke. He's our first MVP of the episode, surprisingly. And we're giving that to him for the wonderful contribution of spoof-moofing.
Yep.
I want to thank the Academy for this insult turn. More insult, I guess. But whatever, I'll be your MVP.
Yeah, well, it's a true honor to be on the MVP, no matter how you get there.
Yeah.
And then also we want to thank Jaden Smith for his review where he let us know that Holmes and Watson were robbing people at the theater. So thank you, Jaden Smith. And finally, we got to give a shout out to the audiences because they won this episode. They got close to our review.
Yep, they won.
As you know, we are the litmus test for good cinema. Or just cinema in general, I guess.
Exactly.
Because this is not good cinema at all. Okay, well, goodbye for real this time.
Bye.
Bye.